What's up, NFL fans? Um, in this video, I'm going to go through the divisions and try to predict who will win the division in 2023, as well as give my wild card picks for the playoffs, so basically also giving all my playoff picks. So first up is the AFC North, and this one, I'm going to pick the Bengals. I just feel like the Ravens, with injury with them, you never really know. The Steelers are kind of in a rebuilding mode, and then the Browns, I'm just really not high on Deshaun Watson at all. I think they are better without him than with him. Um, and so I wouldn't call this division easy division for the Bengals. The Steelers, you can never count them out. And then once again, if the Ravens are healthy, they're still a competitive team. But I do think that this is the Bengals are one of the top teams in the NFL, and I think that this pick is it's an easy pick to make, but I'm not saying the road to make the playoffs and win the division is easy for the Bengals. Next is my AFC East, and I really, really want to say the Jets, and I feel really high on the Jets, but I am going to have to pick the Bills. I just think on paper, 17 games, the Bills seem to be the better team. That being said, I think the Jets have more star power, I guess I don't know, magic or the it factor, where if you put the Jets against the Bills, maybe this is just me being a biased Jets fan, but I think the Jets have a shot at beating the Bills. That being said, on paper, I think the Bills are the better team and will probably have a better regular season record. So I'm going to say the Bills are going to win this. And then, yeah, still, the Patriots and the Dolphins, I think, are still pretty decent teams. I think the Dolphins are a good team. You just never know with Tua. And then the Patriots, like I said in my last video, everyone's kind of counting them out. I would, maybe as a Jets fan, but I would never count Bill Belichick out, and he's always going to make any game competitive. So I once again think that this is a good division, but I'm going to go with the status quo for right now anyways, and say the Bills are going to win the division. The AFC South, I think probably one of the worst divisions in the NFL. That being said, there's lots of people are excited about the Jaguars. They haven't really done anything yet, but still. But I'm going to say the Titans. They got I think that they're going to win the division. They got DeAndre Hopkins, and I know they're kind of aging out, but with this division not being that good, I think the Titans are going to win the division. Lots of people are saying the Jaguars. I don't see it yet. I'm not down on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, but he hasn't done enough in the league yet. And yeah, he had Urban Meyer his rookie year, and he improved a lot when Urban Meyer left. But I just think the Titans are the known quantity, and I would say they got better. They are getting older, which for that team is never great, but I think on paper they got better. So I'm going to say the Titans win the AFC South. And then finally, the AFC West, the easiest one, at least in the AFC to pick, it's the Chiefs. Once again, I think that this division is a pretty solid division. The Chargers are good. I don't think the Broncos or Raiders are good, but the Raiders think they're good, and once again, maybe Sean Payton is going to make Russell Wilson good again. But obviously, it's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, they are one of, if not the best team in the NFL, and obviously, they're going to win the division. Now with the wild cards here, I have the Jets, the Chargers, and the Ravens. Like I said, the Jets, I think they might not be the better team on paper, but I think that they have enough to make it the playoffs and then challenge any team they're going to play in the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. The Chargers, once again, I'm pretty high on the Chargers. I know lots of people are down on them, especially with their playoff performance last year, but I think they're still a good team, and they also have the Chiefs have pretty easy games, and so do the Chargers. They get to play the Broncos and the Raiders, and then finally the Ravens. I think if they stay healthy, or if they stay healthy for a majority of the season, then they can win the division, or they can not win the division. Sorry, they can be competitive and win enough games to make the wild card. But that third spot, I'm really not confident on. All right, next with the NFC North. This division is pretty hard, but I'm gonna have to give it to the Vikings. It's either lots of people are high on Justin Fields. I don't see it yet. He hasn't done anything yet. And then lots of people are high on the Lions, but I think that's more like excitement that they're finally not bad. And yeah, they are getting a little better. And then obviously, as a Jets fan, I know the Packers have gotten significantly worse, and they're starting, which is okay. They're starting a rebuilding era, so it's not like, oh, the Packers are blew everything up. No, they're rebuilding. They have a new young quarterback. But that being said, I think once again, the Vikings are one of the best teams record-wise last year. I was never that high on them last year, but they're able to win games, and that's what you need to do in the regular season to win the division. So I know lots of people like to say the Lions, but I'm going to go once again with the more known quantity, the Vikings. The NFC East, I also think that this selection is pretty easy. It's to me, it's obviously the Eagles. Lots of people are high on the Cowboys, and I really don't see why. They got rid of Zeke, which I guess kind of makes them a better team, but that's really like that's kind of it in my opinion. And if they were a good team the last couple of years, and if they stayed healthy, they would have been a good team. But guess what? So are the Eagles, and they did stay healthy, and they made it to the Super Bowl last year. And some salty Eagles fan thinks that they should have won the Super Bowl. So once again, Commanders really not that great. I know the Giants made the playoffs last year, but I think that was more of a fluke, and we'll see what happens with Daniel Jones getting as much money as he is. But I think the Eagles are the obvious answer for this one. The NFC South, also once again, I think one of the worst divisions. So just the South in general, AFC, NFC, are two of the worst divisions. And this one's kind of hard since they're all in like weird stages. But I'm gonna say the one team that's trying to win games, I think, is the Saints. They have the quarterback. They have Derek Carr, who isn't great, but he's kind of, you know what you're getting with him. The Panthers have a rookie quarterback, and then the Falcons and the Buccaneers are starting new quarterbacks. So the Saints seem to be the more stable team, so I'm going to pick them to win the division. But since this division is so bad, all you need to do is win like 3 or 4 fluke games, and then you can win the division. So this one's really up in the air. Finally is the NFC West, and this one, it's also kind of weird. Like some on paper, some of these teams are really good, and then they just don't end up being that good. And then you have the Cardinals, who lots of people are down on, and they're pretty obviously tanking. All that being said, I'm going to give it to the 49ers. I think Brock Purdy might be the real deal. And so he's going to be the starter this year, I think. And they made the NFC Championship last year. That being said, I'm not as down on the Rams as other people are. I know they were not that great last year, but I think they're going to rebound from winning the Super Bowl to kind of having a Super Bowl hangover to, I think, being maybe not as good as they were when they won the Super Bowl, but still pretty good. And yeah, and then for the wild card teams, I have the Cowboys, Lions, and Falcons. The Cowboys, once again, they were a good team last year, and they seem to keep lots of the guys. And I don't think they're going to really challenge for the division, but I do think they're going to be good enough to make the wild card spot. And then the Detroit Lions, once again, I think during the end of the season, I think their head coach might be able to motivate the team, and they're still not a terrible team. And I think that they'll be able to motivate the team to win some of the last few games in the season to make the playoffs. And then the Falcons, just because I wasn't really sure to put for that 7th spot. I just think that since the NFC South is so bad, the Falcons have a few easy games, and so I don't know. I'm gonna give them the 7th wildcard spot. And let me just say, as a Jets fan, it is so unfair how hard the AFC is versus how easy the NFC is. Like I don't think the Lions and the Falcons would be in the playoffs if they were in the AFC, and I don't even know if the Cowboys would be in the playoffs if they were in the AFC. But anyways, that all being said, those are my predictions. Those are the 14 teams I think are going to make the playoffs and who the division winners are. Anyways, I'm just in that conclusion. I'm just excited about the NFL finally starting in a few days. And let's see what happens. Thanks for watching.